How you make a great activity is first by thinking really carefully about the point of the whole thing. Why have we got this activity? What am I trying to achieve with it? How do I want the students to change once they've done it?
It starts by trying to put myself in the position of the students.
Ask yourself, what do you actually want your students to achieve at the end of the lesson?
Activities are so important because students get to experience the learning, experience the knowledge. So they get to, in a way, they get to immerse themselves in the lesson, and in my opinion, that's the best way to learn.
Throwing everything out and being prepared to start from scratch. And then once you've got one, doing it yourself and making sure it's fun.
It's very important also for us as designers to know why we do the activity, what's the purpose, what's the learning outcome of the activity, and at the same time also students need to know what it is.
Motivation is a prerequisite for engagement, and engagement is a prerequisite for experience learning and for active learning.
What is available for me at my environment? So for example, in my university, we have a lake, we have some ducks, so I try to see, is there anything that I could personalize and ground in what is available for me to differentiate the experience.
You'll be then led to the concepts through an experiential active process, rather than just being told the concepts so that you understand them at face value.
I always tell my students, instead of submitting the work to me, I tell them publish it to the world. So that now they have a motivation to get the work to be seen by other people.
Sometimes you can take your activities into the real world and you don't have to use a metaphorical context. You can actually use the real context, and technology is wonderful for that. For example, I was teaching a year 7, so around 12-year-olds in an English class, and we were teaching persuasive writing. And instead of getting them to write essays about persuasive writing, etc., I got them all to design a website and take up a cause of their own choosing. So some chose animal welfare, etc. One of them chose shark culling, and he felt particularly strongly about shark culling. And so they had to design and write copy for their website that was persuasive. And so we were learning through that. But he also saw that, hey, this persuasive writing that we're learning to do can actually persuade real people out there to do real things. And I said, well, you're not just learning to do this, you're doing it. Just because you're in a school, you're in an educational environment, you're inside those walls, but thankfully we now have technology that can communicate beyond those walls. And he actually emailed a few people around once he'd completed his website, and 3 weeks later he got a personal email from the Premier of Western Australia defending their state's policy on shark culling. And of course he was absolutely tickled pink, and I think it was a really transformative moment for him.